Okay, today topic is offering among the 7 limb practice, which is one of the very important practice. All Sutrayana or Tantric yana, all major, any practice when we're doing, we always within the 7 limb practice. Because the reason of why these 7 limb practice are important is any high realization, for instance, to accumulate means to develop your bodhicitta or compassion to all sentient beings, or love or wisdom or understanding the ultimate reality. Any realization, in order to generate, we need virtues and merits, and also we have to remove our obstacles. So without virtues and merits, it's really hard to generate these qualities. Sometimes it's completely, perfectly makes sense in your brain, but very hard to develop in your heart. So many of us, we do have sometimes, everybody, when we talk about love and compassion, everybody agree that, and all it makes sense. But if you really, did you really practice love and compassion? Do you really generate love to you, all sentient beings? Can you able to do that? It's very hard. Many of us are struggling, to generate inside there. So, purpose of studying any, love and compassion or whatever we're studying, the purpose of studying that is to generate, right? That's the main purpose. Purpose of meditation is also our mind to try to transforming, mental transform into the positive minds from negative mind. That's the purpose of meditation. Purpose of all the practice is to change our mind into positive. But that changeable, that training to change that, without study, without understand, there's no way to change. So study is very important. Anything when we're doing, any practice when we do, of course, you should first understand why I'm doing that. How can I do? How you know that practice can really help me to remove this or that? Everything first you have to know that, because without knowing, then any practice when you do, always is struggle, always there's so many obstacles. So any practice when we do, we should have to understand why we're doing that. That's why first education, study is very important. Then there are quite a number of people, very good understanding, but sometimes their heart still didn't change anything. Therefore, very rich brain, but a very dry heart there. As long as when your heart is very dry, always problems. Because final decision, it comes from our heart. Our education, where we used, its final decision come from our heart. So as long as if heart is not good, its heart is full of negative, then sometime, our education we use into negative side. So it makes more trouble, right? Maybe sometimes you can see the human beings, we are making more trouble than animals, because we are much more smarter, and unfortunately, heart is not that much. So, we decide and creating huge big trouble, disaster in this planet, destroying our environment, destroying everything to get anything what we wanted, in order to achieve that, out of greedy or out of attachments or out of arrogance, any out of negative those emotions, then using all this education into negative side. So it's making more trouble, more big problems. So that's why to change that heart is not easy. It's very difficult, because today our mind is fully dominant by negative thoughts, emotions. They are too strong and they polluted. They're taking over. So to change this big boss, right? Right now our big boss are our anger, hatred, greedy, attachments, or jealousy, selfish. So these are our big boss, and these are the minds. Being a big boss from Buddhist perspective, it's being a big boss from beginningless to till today. So that's why we have too much problem, physical, mental, emotional, all the stuff. To change that big boss is not easy because you are very much influenced by that, those boss. So to do these things, first you need to be very strong, and same time you really have to know how can we change it. You have to know exactly those negative thoughts, emotions, how much is create trouble, how much is damage oneself and their family and society and communities, their happiness, how much is create suffering toward oneself and others through our own experiencing. When you look small family to big nations, all those trouble, the root causes of those troubles come from human negative minds, negative thoughts, emotions. General, when we look, human nature might be, many people think, oh, human nature is very bad, but that's, I think completely wrong thinking. Human nature, I think human nature is very positive, very innocent. How we know, from our own experiencing, when you look, first when we come in this planet, we come from our mother womb, right? That little baby come out from that mother womb. They don't have any influence, right? They don't have any influence by families, by communities, or by any others. That innocent baby, when they comes out, you can see she always wants to be happy and peace and don't want suffering. Nobody teach that. Just being a human, right? Being a sentient beings, just who has some kind of feeling. Anything who has feeling, they always wants to feel happy and peace and don't want suffering. You can see the baby, when there she don't know anything. She don't know how to talk, how to eat, how to work, nothing. There. Sometimes for me it's interesting when I look at. I always say that that little baby is like 8 or 9 pounds of meat. It's there, right? It's just a little bit movement here, they're just there. Without parents, can't survive. It's more fragile than animal world. Animal babies are, after 5-10 minutes, they can walk, they can, take milk, they can do these things. But the human being we see much more fragile. But point is, even that moment when she suffer, she's crying. Nobody teach when you suffer you have to cry. And when she happy, she real smile. You can see through her body language, don't want suffering, wants to be happy and peace. That's, we all come from that way, same, right? All the human beings, we come same like that. So then slowly it's growing and growing, then influenced by others and here and there. Then eventually the being who are more influenced by negative thoughts, emotions, then their minds getting worse and worse and worse. When their minds more polluted, more influenced by more negative thoughts, emotions, these the beings where the decision always be some kind of mistake, always be something wrong decision. They act negative, they plan negative, they think negative, they act negative. That's why all the sufferings. That's why it's creates suffering toward family, friend, community, all everywhere. So that kind of mistaken decision, that kind of mistake behave, how it comes there. When the little baby comes very innocent, just wants to be peace and happiness and don't want suffer, don't want trouble. But slowly when we grow up, we really change something, become a very politic person or very doing so much drama, and two things inside and outside completely sometimes change. Two different person there. So all this complicate life, how, why it comes, who teach us? If you really deep down, it's nothing somebody teach. It's because same time when we grow our mind, it's growing same time negative thoughts, emotions are growing much stronger, much faster, and slowly they're taking over us. Then every decision comes from negative thoughts. Because of that, the person who involved with negative thoughts, emotion, always be suffering, always be trouble. So today, our nature still same. All human beings today still, we all want to be peace, happiness. Nobody wants to be suffering. That nature never change, always be there. But all human beings in this planet, deep of their heart, they really want happy, peace, a healthy, don't want trouble, don't want suffering. But in this planet, the major human problems created by human beings. We create it, right? Nobody wants that, but we create it. Therefore, why? How it comes? And if you really look, sometimes even we talk about a big war, but even you can just really be honestly look your life in your family. If your family has too much trouble there, too much problem within the family, just think maybe you're sharing your life with him or her, whoever you're sharing, but purpose of your life sharing with him or her is happiness and peace. That's why. He or she also sharing their life with you is same purpose. Wants to be good, wants to be happy, wants to be peaceful. So that's why they're sharing. That's why they decide staying together. But that's the purpose. But the major, even in the families, there's so much drama. There's so much, trouble between the families. Screaming each other, fighting each other, and so much physical problems. Because of that environment, too much trouble there, it's affect your mental, too much stress, depression, or fear, or worry, inner pain or emotion. There's so much inner pain, external pain. And both of them staying together because of happiness, but the both of them, their major suffering is not created by somebody from different families there. It's created by themselves, right? That's clear. The arguments or fighting each other, that's themselves. They create it. So they don't want to argue each other, right? We don't want to argue each other, but we're doing this again. And result, we all are suffering. So really learn that why these things comes. And that's clear. Because every action, we're doing, it comes from our mind. So that action is not just coming that. Act, it's because of there's something wrong inside. Some kind of things come from your mind. So if they act something bad, that means there's something wrong in their mind, something bad there. If act good, that means something good mind. So that's quite clear. Action is fully depending on their own mind. And that mind, it belongs to you. This is your mind. It's not others' mind. That's your mind. Nobody can see that. That's the only you can able to see. You can able to change that mind. Nobody. But in order to change that, you need somebody can teach us and guide us on how to do what we have to learn to rely on other to how to do that. But the final decision, it's completely self-responsibility. Only you can able to do that. So that, one side, it's every trouble, everything's come from my mind, but fortunately, that mind, who has power to change, It's completely self. You have power to change your own mind. That's a very good thing. And fortunately, I have power to change my own mind. In order to change my mind, I don't need to take some kind of, permission to here, there. I don't need that. This is fully owned by myself. And in order to change, it's not depend on money or power or sort of like a material. It's not depend on material. It's not depend on power. It's nothing. Everybody, every human being, we all have completely same potential to change that. So look on that point, myself, my nature. Many people might, sometimes they abuse means maybe they're complaining themselves. I'm the loser. I'm something. They hate themselves. That's the really foolish. I think. I don't think this is right. Because I always say, self is very innocent. That's why I'm saying the human nature, very innocent, just wants to be peace and happiness and don't want suffering. There's no way to complain. There's no way to criticize and complain to the self, because self themselves, it's very innocent, just wants to be peace, happiness, don't want suffer, don't want suffering, don't want to create trouble. That's the self. So that innocent being to complaining, blaming to them, it's really mistaken. Where you blame is mistake. So first realize, I myself is very innocent. My nature is really innocent, who just wants to be peace and happiness and don't want suffering. That's my nature. It's not just I learn from somebody else. This is just being a human. That nature is always there. I mentioned earlier, from childhood, from the baby, we have that nature. Then when we grow, that nature never changes, right? When you are in teenager, you always want to be happy and peace. Nobody wants to be trouble. So today, nobody. When your family has drama and is fighting each other, you're not happy. You don't want to live like that. So even when you go to the work, when you're doing everything where human beings are very busy, moving up and down and looking here, there, all those busy movement, the same purpose. It's the simple, wants to be happy in peace and don't want suffering. So that's why they're looking how to make peace, how to live with happiness. Even religion side, to involve to the religion, is same reason. Wants to be happy in peace, they're not satisfied on material world, they're looking something spiritual thing to help me to achieve that peace and happiness. My main heart, who looking, ultimate peace. So they're going to see the religion or whatever things, they're engaging, they're adopting this philosophy, that idea. Two main point is to live peace and happiness. So there's no way to blame to the self. There's no way to feel bad to themselves. That's the really, mistaken mind. Now where we should blame, then who really create trouble? Blame to your anger, hatreds, attachments, greedy, selfish, self-centered, ignorance, arrogance. These are the negative thoughts, emotion, troublemaker. These are the troublemaker. These mind completely dominate that innocent self, lead into very difficult life, very complicated life. Then blaming to that self is the mistake. Blame to where those negative thoughts, emotions. These are the minds who create those trouble. So if you're really smart, then in order to get rid of, to remove your trouble, first really understanding the troublemaker, where we should blame. Many people blaming themselves. There are many people blaming to other people. My boss is the troublemaker. My wife is the troublemaker. My husband is or my children are. We're always blaming to others here, there, and these are the condition. Of course, they are the condition, but they're not 100% there. something in my heart, right? There's something wrong there. So as long as if your heart is fully pure, without any negative thoughts, emotion, how much they're making things, they're screaming, whatever they're doing, is never ever able to hurt you. Heart hurts means something feel uncomfortable in your heart. Feeling is there in your heart, it's not there. Therefore, there's something wrong there. Therefore, as long as if you have fully still able to remain really positive, able to remain in very loving mind, then even they're screaming, whatever they're doing, as long as if your mind is still same in loving mind, not going to hurt that. That word is just air, right? When they're hearing this horrible word, then same time internal, if increase your anger, hatreds, that will now create trouble. That will feel pain. Therefore, as long as when your mind is something changed into negative, then result you're experiencing. So anything when you feel some kind of stress or depression or fear, don't only looking out there to try to challenge. Of course we can do something for stop as much as we can, but also look your own mind. Which mind create me stress? Why I stress? Because I lose my job, or because this. Is that's the only, because of that reason are you have stress? If you dig a little bit deep down, there's something wrong. Maybe you have attachments. Maybe you have too much expectation, or maybe you have something anger, hate, some kind of emotion there. As long as if you don't deal with that emotion, just only on external things, then you change, you try, you fight it, you win, you victor there, but as other things, there's some condition arise there. Then same, you already have causes there. Any condition arise, this comes up, when those negative minds comes up, always harms you. So how much you stop in outside there? How long? You can't control over the world. You can't. Rather, if you able to control your mind. So that's why, understanding self, really the nature of self, then troublemaker, those mental afflictions. Now to stop those negative thoughts, emotion, just prayer. Prayer itself good, it's not enough. Just prayer is not going to change my heart, right? That's quite clear. I usually always myself doing every morning, evening doing prayer. That doesn't mean it can stop all my negative thoughts, emotions, or this special blessing or whatever, blessing water or holy water or whatever, holy text or holy Buddha's image in front of the air. Just only this external material is not going to stop, remove my anger and hatred, my negative thoughts, emotions. That's quite clear. We have to go realistic. That doesn't mean don't need to do prayer or something. It helps. That's why I'm saying, the prostration, the offering, and all those seven limb prayer, seven limb practice, we're doing. It's while we're doing that, but the main thing, we have to change our mind through our meditation in order to get rid of those negative thoughts, emotions. We have to develop the opposite mind of those negative thoughts, emotions. For instance, for the anger, we directly opposite of anger is love. Instead of hate, love. Go opposite. Then it's not easy to turn into hate to love. It's very difficult. So that's why we first study what's meant by love. How to develop love. What are the causes of love? What kind of obstacle in order to develop love? How, which process we're learning all these things, and we try to meditate at same time to change your mind into there. I mentioned earlier, we need, sort of like a condition, favorable condition in order to grow the flower or plant, anything. Seed is the very important. First, we need the seed, but just alone seed is not going to give us plant, right? To grow that seed, we need soil or moistures and heat and all this favorable condition, then seed there, all the favorable conditions is there, then of course it can come out the plants. Similarly, internal the practice of meditation are the main, it's like a seed to develop, to overcome negative thoughts, emotions. We have to meditate or mental transformation practice. We have to do, but in order to grow love and compassion, all those high realizations, positive realization, in order to grow these things, we need favorable conditions. So what are the favorable conditions? Like a favorable condition, which are the virtues and merits. And same time, we have to fight to remove the obstacles. Same like a farm, to grow those vegetables, they also the farmers, they're putting those poison things to kill those insects or obstacle to to disturb or obstruct to grow these vegetables. So they're using two things. They have to create the favorable condition, same time they have to use to remove those obstacles. Two things they're doing. Similarly, internally, to grow those high realizations, we need to do two things: remove the obstacles and develop virtues, create the favorable condition. So that's why last week I talked about the prostration. So the main purpose of prostration is to removing the obstacles. There are many obstacles to purifying the obstacles. That's why we're doing the prostration. And I mentioned earlier, one of the big obstacle is human arrogance. That's one of the big things. The arrogant, as long as arrogance there, then we always think I am supreme, pride, or there are something down there. Then they always have some reason, I'm something special. And specific, if you grow like a money or power or material or name, anything when you grow, sometime because of those externally growing things, it can create internal arrogance. More, oh, now I'm becoming something special. Then that's why you're growing too much arrogance there, then result suffering. How it becomes suffering? Because the person who lives with arrogance, they never ever looking themselves. They always think I am whatever I say is good, right. Whatever they say is wrong. You're looking them down. That's why you disrespect to others. And you're always looking, other people can respect to me, other people can listen to me, which is completely opposite. Then people are not going to do these things. Then you're frustrated, you're angry and hate all those trouble. One of the biggest thing is, in order to change yourself, you have to listen to others. Because many things we don't understand. We don't identify my own mistake. So in order to change, first we have to identify, recognize your own mistake. Without knowing your mistake, there's no way to change. But in order to know that, you have to listen to others. Because other people can tell you. Then who stopped that listening? That's arrogance. Don't want. So that's why first we're doing the prostration, to try to develop inner humble attitude, respect attitude. That's why we're doing prostration. The physical body, our head is the top of our body. So when we prostrate, we touch our head on the floor. That's kind of humble, very, lying down, living with very down. That attitude, is called, its main purpose is to reduce inner arrogance. So sometimes people, without understanding, just doing bow down or something, eventually it's become just culture, bowing, but they don't know what that means, right? They were internal. Without internal practice, then external is not working that much. So that's why, the first prostration. Now today is the offering. So prostration helps to removing our obstacle. Now in order to generate virtues and merits, we're doing the offerings. So that's why the all those offering, all the religion has, this kind of practice, the offering, the practice. So that main purpose is offering is to generate virtues and merits. And the offering is one of the part of the generosity practice. These are the generosity practice. And also the obstacle of offering is miserliness. Therefore, when we develop our offering practice, it helps to reduce our miserliness or something, right? Miserliness, yeah, miserliness. Thank you. So if my pronunciation sometime problem, just you raise my hand and fix me. That's one of the otherwise I think saying something, maybe you're looking something, you are in different planet. I am in this planet, you are maybe there because of my accent, or I always thinking one of the horrible English speaker who's speaking here with all those smart expert English speaker. That's quite very hesitation, right? But yeah, point is to try to get the point. That's the main. The language is to give the main point. So I try. So here, offering, which is really the purpose of offering is to one of our practice. The offering is to generate our generosity practice. One of the 6 parameter, 6 perfection practice, generosity. And now what's mean by offering? Where really we offering? Offering in Sanskrit is called the puja. That's called puja. I think that means create bliss, experiencing bliss and pleasure. It's called puja. Offering, which means make them bliss, make them pleasure. So that's the offering. Now offering, there are so many different objects of offering. I don't want to go all those specific in the Vajrayana way. There's so many, external offering, internal offering, secret offering, and the emptiness offering. There's so many. But I just want to go very simple first to understand that. Then future any other different offering, then you can relate to that. But the main point of offering means create pleasure to them, to create pleasure where you offer that objects, to create them pleasure. That's called offering. So now offer to whom? When now it's the logic. Pleasure means where we have to create pleasure. Where. So for pleasure means the happiness. Happiness, which means actually it's mental experiencing, right? It's as long as when your mind is experiencing on happiness, then say, oh, I feel happy, I'm enjoying. As long as when your mind is fully, suffering, then doesn't matter beautiful things in front of you, never ever makes you happy, right? That's very clear. Some people, unfortunately, our focus, because influenced by attachment or attachment on reputation or attachment on your name or something, then they think, oh, happiness, which means external. We very much focus about the way of wearing our dress. We're putting things and outside there, everything, we're very much focused there, but we fully ignore in our mind. So sometimes the people with very, go to the party and very expensive things there, with wearing all these expensive things, but the internal mind is fully depression, fully stress, never enjoying, and even sometimes really feel sad because the people comes, you have to smile, you have to do things which is really is not come from your heart. I think it might be very difficult. It's like a punishing themselves. You're doing all these things, it's just like you're punishing. Are you telling lie to yourself? I think it's really unfortunate things there. So what's the point is make pleasure, happiness, which means mental experiencing. That's the real. Your mind, when they're experiencing joy or bliss, that means really happy. As long as when your mind is something, suffering, frustration or stress or something, then there's no pleasure. So really offer means to offer their mind, to create their mind joyfulness. That's the real offering. It's not only physical. So to make joy internal, they try to use external objects to give them something, to create internal joy. So we can't change his mind or her mind, right? We can't take out the Buddha's mind and put something. We can't do these things. So now, how to make joy? How to give, joyfulness to like a mental? How to create, mental happiness? Means first we have to know what kind of minds there are. There are 1,000 different types of mind, but the real mind, that we call main, there's a six main mind, right? 5 sensory, and last one's mental consciousness. Within sensory, eye sense consciousness, ear, nose, tongue, body sensory, right? Body consciousness, 5. And upon there, mental consciousness. There's 6 different types of minds there. Now, happiness, which means we have to make some of these minds pleasure. So, because of eye sense consciousness make happy, how do I create eye sense consciousness happiness? That's why we're offering the flowers. Therefore, flowers, it's beautiful color, beautiful design. When you see that, oh, beautiful, it's some kind of pleasure you feel, right? So when we offer to the Buddha or any object a flower, it's actually to create some kind of eye sense consciousness, pleasure. That's why the flower. Then for the nose sense consciousness, we're offering incense, right? That's why the incense. So incense, if they're horrible smell, but very expensive there, gold, whatever they put, it's not going to work that way, I think. But I'm not sure. That's I think. Don't think this is Buddhist concept. I have so many things mistake. But that's good thing is you have to be very, what they call, what do you call that? You have to be, what? Yes, skeptical. Don't be blind belief or something. Never, skeptical. Just, think and it makes sense, So I think it's very expensive, like incense burners, gold and silver, but inside the incense maybe not good smell. That's, I think, it's not going to work that way. So if you don't know where they offer, then you are very emphasized on those external things. You spend thousands of dollars to make beautiful there, but the real quality is nothing there. Then, right, it's not working there. So incense is really we offer to nose sense consciousness, to smell. Then for the ear sense consciousness, we use music. So the music is for to create the ear sense. So when we're offering the music, it's actually to create ear sense consciousness bliss. Then for the tongue sense consciousness, the taste. That's why we're offering food and fruits and all these things we're doing is for the tongue sense consciousness, to taste. So offering plate is very good, fancy plate, golden plate, but if the real food is not that much taste, then it's not working that way. Your understanding of offering maybe something wrong there. So sometimes when I go, maybe sometimes when you look, if you go to the very fancy restaurant, right, I always thinking that they have a huge big plate and the food is only one portion, right? This small in one spoon there and nothing food there. And sometimes it's really eatable or not. I still don't know. There's so many grass things and it's really eatable or not. This is like just for looking. Maybe this is for eye sense consciousness, happiness, but not the tongue, right? It's clear, but you're always thinking this, for why, for what? always. The main thing is, for the tongue sense consciousness, for the taste. That's why the food we're offering them is to for the create bliss and tongue sense consciousness. For the body sense consciousness, we offer the clothes, various silk, like these kind of clothes, and also sometimes they're offering the perfumes for fresh. That's why the perfume is nose and body sense consciousness. And then for the mental consciousness, also eye sense consciousness, we offer a light. Therefore, the light, candlelight or any light, I think all the religions they have this kind of system. They're offering the light. It's for eye and mental sense consciousness. But the purpose of one of the purpose, they are all have many explanation. I don't want. But one of the purpose of the light, I think it's that why they're doing this light. The symbolism of light is wisdom. So offering light is very popular. Everybody they're offering because one of the root causes of our suffering is ignorance, don't understanding the mind, or don't understanding the right, don't understanding the truth. Therefore, as long as when mind is ignorance, don't understanding truth, then always is some kind of mistake understanding. That's why always we create some kind of mistake behavior, mistake decision. That's why all the trouble, its source comes from that ignorance. So candlelight is symbolism of wisdom. Therefore, ignorance, to get rid of that ignorance, it's only by wisdom can only remove that ignorance. Whatever things we used is not going to stop my ignorance. So because of that ignorance, always, as long as when you have ignorance, always we have a trouble, we have a sufferings. For instance, like simple thing. Maybe you have very good coffee in your kitchen, but you don't know how to make a coffee, right? That means you have ignorance of how to make a coffee, And because of that ignorance, then morning when you wake up, you want to drink a coffee. But unfortunately, you don't know how to make that coffee. So you are suffering. You have a suffering of not having a coffee, right? Suffering of not having a coffee, maybe you blame to your wife and your husband, somebody, why are you making this? Why? We try to blame them, but the root cause is not them. Root cause is your ignorance. Don't know how to make that. And to get rid of that ignorance, just prayer, things, not going to stop, right? That ignorance, we know that. Only the thing is, you should go learn how to make a coffee. That's the wisdom. As long as when you know how to cook, how to make a coffee, then that wisdom can remove your ignorance on coffee, how to make that coffee. As long as when you remove your ignorance, then morning when you want to drink a coffee, you wake up, you can cook it, you make it your coffee and drink it. It can remove your suffering of not having a coffee by removing your ignorance. So many, these are the very small things. All major problems come. So that's why offering the candlelight is the light. If the dark place, if they don't have light, then always trouble, right? There's no light. You don't know where you go. You don't know how to do it. Everything is dark. So as long as when your mind is fully dark, you don't know how to do these things. Then going here, there, you smash here, there, and trouble, right? It's many sufferings. So to get rid of that dark, you have to open on the light. Then light will remove all the darkness. So darkness is like a mental darkness, is the mental ignorance. Ignorance are the mental darkness. Therefore, mental light is the wisdom. So we're using external light, offer to the Buddhas or wherever you have faith. We're offering them, to asking them to bless us, to remove our ignorance, internal dark, which are the ignorance. That's why the light we're offering. So all these offering do have symbolism of each things. But these are the one simple to offering these things. Now when you offer these kind of objects. Now you know the main purpose is to the mental, offering to the mental, but what kind of intention, when we are offering, the intention, one of the best intentions should be, compassion to all sentient beings. Out of that intention, if you have love and compassion to all beings, then even if you offer just one candlelight, it can develop, it can accumulate millions of virtues and merits. Because of your intention, I'm offering this one light to behalf of all sentient beings, to benefit to all, for that purpose I'm offering. It's not just only word. That's not going to work that way. Intention is the mind. You have to be sincerely and genuine, feel that from deep of your heart. I offer this candle to the Buddha to behalf of all sentient beings, to sake of all sentient beings, benefit to all sentient beings. Then one simple offering can accumulate countless of merit and virtues. You're offering hundreds of candles out of selfish, maybe unfortunately sometime, to success business. That's out of attachment. Then you're offering, I'm not sure is the real accumulate virtue or merit, or is accumulating more selfish or self-centered. I'm not sure. So offering is not only the object also, it's very much also the mind, the intention, out of which intention you accumulate. Because virtues, merits are the mental qualities. These comes from the mental qualities, it comes within the mind. So accumulate virtues, merits in mind stream. So as long as when your mind has fully, like a huge big mind, thinking all other sentient beings, any offering in one prostration, when you're doing, all these things are you accumulating like millions of virtues and merits. So many people we are very much emphasizing external offering, very much. We completely ignore internal. Then we're doing not that much accumulating virtues. So smart thing means we also first, before the offering, what kind of intention I have to accumulate first, for why you're asking something, for what reason. So first you really check your own intention. I'm offering that out of which intention? Really check there. Then if the intention is something wrong, I'm offering him to success my business, or to my something, my family, my, it's then your intention is not good. So even when we accumulate virtue, it's very small. Even huge, big offering, but you accumulate virtue is very small. So before when you doing this offering, really sincerely look your own mind, which intention. So before when you arrange that, first fix your mind, then bring offering things, then you offer. So then these kind of like offering, you should be not only the physical materials, very important, because each time when you're offering, you're accumulating so much virtues and merit, but at the same time, if you have proper good motivation, you're accumulating much better, much bigger, so that you have more beneficial. So these mental things is, it's not depend on materials. So you can just look yourself and first set up really proper intention. Then when you're offering, like maybe usual practitioner, we put the waters and flowers. It's good to do like very neat. It's beautiful, not just everywhere. When you go to the fancy restaurant, they put very neat, right? Everything's very neat. Similar when you offer to the, any faith, wherever you're offering, out of strong respect attitudes and very neat and clean. So always we're saying, like being a Buddhist, when we eat, first we offer to the Buddha and your teacher, whoever. We're offering these things to appreciate, their kindness, way of their teaching, to appreciate them, and then we offering, anything, food, anything we have. but the offering should be very clean, what as much as you can try to make clean and things when you're doing regular practice. Before, when you meditate, like authentic practitioners, when you follow authentic, before the meditation, first set up proper intention. Which kind of intention I have? Fix your intention. Then second, prostration, to try to get rid of your ego, try to get rid of your arrogance, try to develop your really humble attitude, respect attitude, develop your faith to wherever your objects are using. Then reel the offering. So then offering you put very neat, clean, with a very respect attitude, whatever you're offering. But these are the the offering things, you put it on your altar, whatever you. Then after you finish, set up everything, then usually we have the prayers, mantras to blessing the offering. But one of the very simple prayer we're doing is Om Aho, 3 syllable. Hum, Om, Aho. There's the 3 symbolism of these 3 is Hum is symbolism of, which means cleaning. Is my offering has any bad taste or any bad things over there, the power of Hum, mantra of Hum, can clean everything. Then the symbolism is to transparent, transform into the pure, clean, like a nectars, beautiful color, or beautiful shapes, or good taste, or everything's transforming into very beautiful, nice. It's called Then the Om, the syllable Om, symbolism of multiply. Therefore, I'm here only maybe 7 things there, 7 offering ball, but the power of Om is visualized to multiply these offerings, millions of ball of offerings. That's called Om Aho, 3 syllable. When the people are reciting, it's actually that's the meaning of cleaning and purifying and transferring into pure, then finally multiplying. And that's we offer. And there are many visualization, other things. Just maybe first that's the best way to go simple. These 3. Then after the finish your offering, then really we have mandala offering, other things there. Now today is just offering things. Then after when you finish, you accumulate virtues, your merits, you already investigate your mind through the process, you clean, then your actual meditation. So then love, compassion, or any meditation you're doing, as long as when your mind is very pure, full of virtue and merits, when you concentrate, much easier makes sense. As long as when your mind is really frustrated, very polluted, even when you think, same thing when you think, it never feel that. When your mind is very pure and clean, then when you think, even small things when you think, it really makes sense. Like for instance, like a compassion meditation. When you meditate in compassion, you just think about like small suffering about any beings. When you think, it's really move your heart. You really feel that. You really want, wish to free from their suffering. You feel that. When your mind is really, polluted, too much negative there, even if you see that people are suffering, you're not feeling there. Feeling's not there. You're seeing things there, but they don't have connection with the feeling. So that's why, first, very important to clean that. So then any meditation, 5, 10, 20 minutes, first really focus, maybe take a breathing meditation to focus your breath, to make your mind concentrate, mental discipline. Then after, any whatever you meditate, you go there. But don't just, many people might sometimes they think meditation brain, try thinking, not heart feeling there. So it's very important, anything there makes sense. You give that message to your heart to really feel that. Because the point is we have to transform our heart, right, our mind, mental, into the love, into the compassion. Meditation, love and compassion is love and compassion not as an object. Meditating love and compassion, which means our heart to transform into the love, right? To transform into the compassion. That's what we call love and compassion. So we have to feel that. That's why if there is a not feeling, that means there's something wrong there. So you can really do sometime between the prostration, between the offering, then again sit and try to feel and try to apply those logic, as long as when you real feel from deep. That's why the analytical meditations are very important, very good, because stabilization meditation is just you focus one object, that's all. Even good, bad, whatever, that's there, right? Analytical meditation, very powerful, but in order to do the analytical meditation, you need to be very smart. You have to know everything on any meditation you're doing. So for compassion, we're analyzing first to try to think others suffering. We try to understanding the others really the nature of their mind, why they do it. We try to understanding they are polluted by negative thoughts, emotion. They are slaved by negative thought, emotion. They are under the power of negative thoughts, emotion. So they can't do, they are not free. They are under the power, they force them to do all those horrible things. The result, they are suffering, they're creating other people are suffering, which is they don't want that. They don't want to live there. So looking and applying all those reason, logic, to try to really feel from your, anything when they make sense in your heart, then your mind, when they make sense, they're adopting, they listen, then they change. As long as when your mind not sense, make not sense, it's not going to change that. How much you force, it's not going to change. So that's why only the way to do is the analytical meditation. It's very, very important. Many people might think, oh, meditation is just smart. Let's just live in one object, remain in one object, just think. That's good. It's your disciplining our mind, but that's not enough. The main point to meditate is to change our mind into love and compassion. This angry mind, this selfish mind, this arrogant minds, they transform into the very humble attitude, very respect attitude of mind, very love and compassion to others. We have to transform that. Through that, we need really those analyzing, learn these things. Then meditate when you feel. Then thinking also when you feel it, then just remain. Then don't need to analyze. Therefore, analytical is the point of analytical is you have to feel. As long as when you feel like, I wish all beings be free from suffering. I wish this guy be free from suffering. Through understanding all this reason, when you feel that, then you just remain there. Just hold that feeling. Just keep that feeling. Maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes. Then slowly it will be disappear again. Then again you have to analyze, logic again. Then when you feel that, just leave there. Don't need to analyze. That's why analytical meditation or single pointed meditation go both, back and forth, back and forth. Then slowly you have to analyze maybe 5 minutes first, 2 minutes stabilize real compassion. Then lose 5 minutes again. Then 2 minutes. Then slowly you don't need to analyze more. Maybe 3 minutes, you can remain 3 minutes. Then 2 minutes, you can remain 4 minutes. Slowly, even without any thinking, just when you look there, when you see that, you feel compassion by naturally. That's the way for that meditation. So that's why to do these things, it's not only the meditation I mentioned earlier, all those virtues and merits, preliminary practice, we have to go this 7-limb prayer, 7-limb practice are the preliminary practice of actual meditation. So in order to actual practice, first those 7-limb practice, we have to go that. That gives your practice become more solid, more stable, go much deeper. It's really change your heart. Otherwise, just surface. 15 minutes, you feel very good. 15 minutes, very good. Then when you wake up, go out, didn't change anything. Same person. I shouting to others, screaming, I do completely same as before whatever I did. So your mind, deep of your heart, didn't change anything, just surface. So that's, not only satisfied, even these things good, but not that's rather we have to go much deeper to do these things. Then always Your practice is always part of you, your life. Even in the business life, even in the difficult life, your practice always be there. So that's, only some people maybe in your meditation room or your practice room, only their practice. When you come out, completely different, nothing. Therefore, your practice didn't help for your ordinary life. And the problem is, why you're doing practice? Because my ordinary life is very horrible. Don't want to leave that. That's why we're doing practice, but that practice didn't help you for your ordinary life. That's because of this kind of lack of understanding there. So always be, the practice you should apply and always be your daily. In order to do this, you have to go much deeper. Now here, offering, how can I use in ordinary life, for business life, for the offering practice, right? There's the spiritual way. Now, to learn that, really offering, which means I really make bliss in mental happiness. That's the really bliss. It's about mental. Now, for the mental bliss, if that's the real happiness, now where you use that to your own lives, okay, to make happy, peace means where I have to make happy inner, mental happy. As long as myself, if lives with very peaceful, very happy in my mind, even external things, how much going wrong, it's not that much disturbed you. As long as when your mind is fully, suffering, like a fully stressful or depression, something collapse your mind, then external, whatever things there, you never be, feel that happen. You are not happy. You're real still suffering. Doesn't matter how beautiful they are. Learn these things is very, very important. So everything we offering these things to the Buddha is to make inner bliss, right? Mental peace. Same time you apply to yourself, everything I'm using those material, working very hardly to create this expensive material is about mental peace, mental happiness. We have to learn that. Otherwise, you're too much just looking on external material, then eventually what you become? You become slave of your external material. That the person is always hungry, always suffering. You're just working, you servant for your material. There are many people, they servant to their money, they servant to their power, and the individual itself, never peace, never happy. They're living with like a royal, very expensive life, very beautiful, fancy things there. But the person who living with this expensive, always be suffering, never peace. Then what's the point? So that we learn from offering. We're offering all those beautiful things to the Buddhas or wherever you offer. Mainly the offering is to make inner bliss, inner happiness, mental peace, mental happiness. So myself, I have to learn that to make happiness is not only there, all those material are going to use to make inner peace, to make inner happiness. That's why I use it. So if you're understanding that, then when you live with any other people, like your family with you, always they focus internal peace, how to make inner peace, how to create inner happiness, how to live oneself with really inner peace and happiness instead of just only external. So many people we have, unfortunately, too much only on external material. They don't know this is about what. Their lack of understanding of the connection between material and inner world. So, because of the material, then they fight each other. Then they, complaining each other, arguing each other. Result, because of those material, make them more suffering. Now, what's the point, right? Is these other because of happiness, but unfortunately, because of these things, make them more suffering. And many couples, have these kind of problems. Really, there are many problems about that means lack of understanding. So always if you think, oh, the mug, today I have new mug, they put my picture there. Because this is the new mark today. Maybe my mark. So I. Big ego maybe there. But yeah, it's the material. It's about actually for your pleasure, for your happiness, and your family, whatever. Then sometimes, mistakenly they're breaking in here, there. Sometimes maybe for temporarily just a little bit saying, but some people they're holding these things deep of their heart and whole day, whole week, sometimes month, holding and fighting each other, and because of they practice muck, right? But what's the point of this muck? Is actually happiness, family's happiness, and the breaking, and then when you, because of that, it's creating more suffering each other. That means something wrong there. Don't understand it. If you real understanding, we have a beautiful, pot or something there, it's for family peace and happiness. When they break it, as long as if you're able to still remain peace and happiness, didn't go too much. That doesn't mean everything collapsed or lost, right? As long as if you're understanding that. If you don't understand, if you're fully there, then you think completely gone, this is expensive, this is that. You label anything, whatever expensive. Money is purpose of money, happiness, right? Money or power, material, your reputation, your name, we're doing today, looking these things. These are the tool. This is like a tool. Using these tools to what? What kind of tool these are? To make happiness. These are because of that happiness. If these tools creating more trouble, that means this tool has something wrong there, right? It's not working that way. Maybe way of you using the tool, something wrong there. So make connection between purpose, point, and your tool. First, to really understand, to make connection, all this material thing is happiness, family peace, family, nation peace, national, society, community, individual. It's about the peace and happiness. That's why material. That's why money. That's why these are the second level. But unfortunately, first material, then second level going, it's backward trouble. Then human being become a slave of money, slave of material. Whole life working very hardly, never ever feel experiencing real happiness. Then one day die. Everybody have to die, right? Nobody can survive. Then when you die, what if you believe in rebirth or not? Clear thing is you can't take any one panic. That's very clear. Nobody, can take any one thing. Even this body come from mother womb to till today, you can't take. When you die, everything we have to leave. So what's the point of your life? Doing very much, always be pain, always be frustration, always be arguing each other, never supporting each other, always be trouble. Then after die, then some family just prayer and doing, crying and this thing. Not make sense, really. If you really go honest way, it's not make sense. And the lifetime support each other, really create pleasure, happiness. Then after die, when they're doing things, make sense, right? Is the lifetime always fighting, making trouble each other? Then after that, then crying, doing these things, it's not make sense. It's just sort of, I'm not sure. It sort of looks like it's something kind of lying, right? It's not real truth. So that's why appreciate to understanding this. So through that, the purpose of life, joy, is the mental things. So mental joy. So you have to really go, think this and really understanding in order to make mental joyfulness, mental happiness, mental peace. It's not only external material. So that's why, as long as when you're knowing that through understanding the offering, then if you know purpose of life, to create joy is the mental joy. In order to create mental joy, who really disturbed your mental happiness? Who really destroy your happiness? Who really helps to create, inner world pleasure, happy world, happy inner world, who really create it. When you go deep down, that's very clear. Negative thoughts, emotions, who create all inner troubles, all frustration, all the problems. Positive minds, virtuous minds, these are the mind who create real pleasure, real happiness. So inner world, one of the root, like a main things who make happiness, who make suffering, means in my inner world, my negative thoughts, emotions making suffering, my positive minds, virtuous minds create happiness. That's very clear. So now my responsibility, I'm working very hard to make pleasure from material world. Same time, if I ignore my mental, I always remain still problems. So work with both way. External material working very hard, same time internal work to make very hard. What kind of job I have to do to identify this kind of minds making trouble, this kind of minds makes me happy. So I have to work to create more this good mind, to support that, to develop this mind. I have to get rid of those negative mind who create trouble in my life, which I work in material world, same. Right? Material things, we try to work to create houses and all these things. We try to stop all those other obstacles. Same, we can work internal in a world to do that way. So through that, then when you're doing this, how can we able to do that? How can I stop my mental afflictions, negative thoughts, emotions? So in order to do these things, we have to first study all these things. Then final thing is to mental reflection, to exercise mental. It's called meditation, to apply in you, and then meditate to, about love, compassion, how to get rid of anger. These meditation. Then slowly, as long as when your negative thoughts and emotions getting far decline, getting weak and weak, your positive minds are getting more stronger through your own practice, and that's you can see way of your mind changing. That's why way of your thinking change, way of your planning change, way of your action change. As long as when you can see that, right? When your mind is really remain very positive, you're always thinking something planning positive. Anything when you look, when you see the appearance and object in your mind, it's a very positive way. That you can see very different, same problems there. Person is completely same, doing things. When you look there, one person here, he's looking out of his anger. One person here, he's looking out of his compassion, right? He wear anger glasses. This guy wear compassion glasses, looking same object. The object they appear in their mind, very different. The person who looking out of anger, object is very horrible, very bad. It's even see that, feel. When you appear in your mind something very horrible, you feel horrible things. That's why it creates inner pain. Same time it affects your physical action, horrible. The result, troubles. When the person looking in compassion sees something very compassionate way, he's shouting, whatever he's doing, is looking, it's like a image of these things when they look. Oh, he has a suffering of anger. He has a suffering of arrogance. He has a suffering of negative behavior. That's why he acts that. Acting these things is not his enjoying, it's suffering. Same time, because of act like that, is destroy other people's happiness, creating suffering to others, creating suffering oneself, not only present moment. Even that action can bring future more sufferings. That's very clear, right? Using harsh word is not only right now, also it can bring future. This person, you hurt their heart, the brain, so affected to you future. So looking on that way, innocent person, deep of their heart, really wants to be peace and happiness, very fragile, very weak. The negative thoughts, emotions are too powerful. They dominate him to do all those horrible things. How much this guy is pain, suffering. Suffering to the people who don't have food, who don't have job, you can see easily way. You can feel very compassionate easily. But the people who, strangers, creating troublemakers. We learn these people. How can I see him as my compassion object instead of my anger object? Because either I see him as my compassion object or anger object, for him doesn't matter, don't care, nothing any effective. But me, very different. If I look him as my anger object, it makes me horrible. It hurts me. It really feel very uncomfortable. It can affect my life. If I have see him as my compassion object, makes me feel very peaceful, feel really care him. That makes me very calm. So me very different, right? So that's why it's not to change that way. It's about my glasses. I have to change that. So as long as if I look him out of my compassion, really different feel, you have more confidence. Present moment, you're much more calm, much more peaceful. Then future, you're always your reaction. Out of compassion, when you react, you very respect. You're really looking how to get rid of problems. Very different reaction. Eventually, this guy become one of your best friend. Can change that way, right? So that's why it's every problem that people sometimes feel hopeless, complaining this world is one of the worst, or this or that. Rather go to the Pure Land, something, they have some dreamland, something there. Just go there. That's, not me. Rather you think, okay, this may be something, if you feel horrible, think, oh, what kind of glasses are you wearing now today? I should change that glass. In negative glass, I should change in a positive glass. I can still remain very positive. Then instead of that, I can help much more better. I can benefit much more better. For the Mahayana practitioner to living in this kind of condition, you must be more joy. You must be more happier than living in Pure Land. Nothing to benefit to them, nothing to help them. What's the point, right? Mahayana practitioner, it means to benefit to others. That's why you're looking to achieve enlightenment. That's the point. So when you're seeing these things, this is one of the good opportunity to benefit to others. You are living with really Pure Land. Your inner world is fully Pure Land. External, how much there? You're living with very pure inside there. Otherwise, beautiful external, inside full of anger, hatred, whatever Pure Land there, you're living in the horrible land. Your mind is something that, right? So that's why, the offering, to understand that offering, you apply in your daily, always looking internal, how to develop these things. Then all your behavior, your thinking, your planning, your associating with other people, always you plan internal also, not only external, also internal. Even one small party you have, your family, not only beautiful food and things there, also plan how to really make inner pleasure to a nice environment, talking with something meaningful, not anger, hatred, or selfish jealousy, rather something meaningful. Create like a beautiful, beautiful enjoyment environment, preparation. Otherwise, too much pepper in external material, inside full of jealous and attachment or whatever, then eating, drinking with very expensive thing, then drunk, then shouting each other, then purpose of party is fighting. Then after the party, no talk each other, finish, gone. Then your money you spend for the party is destroy your family. That's you buy it. You spend your money, what you buy all the trouble in your family, right? So that's why, preparation always go together. Then really your life will go in with very meaningful external, internal world balance. You can able to live with very balance. Okay, that's today. Thank you.